This week from GNC Week in Review, powered by GeekNewsCentral.com. Elon Musk buys into Twitter. Comcast wants a man to pay $19,000, and the State Department is adding a new bureau. Those are some of tech news stories from this week, and it's Friday, March 8th, 2022. My name is Kirk Corliss.
I'm Scott Ertz.
And this episode, a special episode of 103 at an earlier time of the GNC Week in Review podcast, proud partner of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. We are live on gncweekly.com/live, so please be sure to say hello in chat or comment. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. If you miss a live video, you can always catch a replay later. If you are a new listener, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast, where you can find in the right-hand side column at gncweekly.com, be it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. If you have a comment, be it on social media or email, and those links can all be found at gncweekly.com/connect. So, Scott, welcome. Welcome us back. And he's still digging into that music.
I am. It's not going to stop. I like the music.
I do too. So this is a special episode at an earlier time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, because we have a very special guest. I didn't want to make the announcement because I want to keep it a surprise. So I posted it everywhere, literally almost an hour and a half ago. So Shannon Morse, welcome to our podcast.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's a joy to have you here. I've been waiting to have you come on for so long, since back in January of last year, or this year, excuse me, and been sending emails, and I wanted to reach out to, you're asking for collabs with various people, and I said, I'm in. So, so things got crazy with CES. Obviously you got to know, totally understandable. So, for those who don't know about you, what you do, how about introducing yourself for us?
Sure. So I have been doing tech podcasts and video shows on YouTube since 2008. I got my start with Hack5. So my background is most definitely in hacking, DIY, modding, security, and privacy. Most recently, I decided to branch off and start doing my own thing. So I have my own channel, which is self-titled and self-published, which I create here in my own home studio. So I most recently moved to Colorado, started that up. I call it Morse code after my last name. I felt like it made sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've just been, I keep on doing the same YouTube thing. I've been doing it for 14 years now, and I love it.
Yeah, and I've been following your work when we were talking before we went on the air initially, when you were on Techzilla with Patrick Norton and Tech Thing. And then we're on Twit Network, and I've been following you. And when you were on YouTube, I was in. I was all in, and I followed you on Patreon. I'm on Twitter. So,
thank you, Kirk.
Big fan. I saw your last video that you did with the Google Pixel 6 Pro, which I have one here.
Awesome.
And I love it.
Where's mine? Mine's right here. I have
mine
too.
There you go. So I've been I was a big fan of the thumbprint reader initially, but with the bugs that worked out in fixes, and I believe, and you did make a video and made by Google, which was awesome.
Yes, that was so fun. That was the first time that a big company like Google has asked me to produce an entire video for them. So I was a nervous wreck when I was making that video. I was so worried. I was like, oh my God, I have to be a perfectionist. And I think I went over my edit like 20 times just to make sure that I blurred everything correctly and I said everything correctly. I was so scared.
How long did it take you to do that video?
Oh gosh, it took a long time, but they really value content creators, especially when they work with them. So they aren't like, oh, we'll just pay you an engagement or anything like that. Like they value my time and my labor involved. I would say I probably worked at least 40 hours on that video.
Wow.
At least. Yeah. Because we did a few like editing revisions, going back and forth and making sure that it was perfect, and legal was happy with it. So It was fun though. It was very cool to see how like a large company like Google works with
Mhm.
content creators to do a high production video. And that gave me an idea of some things that I could do in my own studio for my own channel going forward.
Yeah, I noticed that you got a lot of great. I watched it, and I also and I know that with your last video a couple of videos ago about password managers,
Mhm.
and you explain things to your viewers, or I wouldn't say viewers. Well, I can say viewers. The way you explain things, you break it down that everyone can understand. There's some people that don't understand tech like you and I do, and Scott does, or because we're all in with tech. But there's
Right.
some that don't know the ins and outs and what ways to find a password manager or the best phone. You give the pros and cons. It's up to the person, and you do say it is up to you. Here's what my take is, but you may like this or you may like that. So that's something that I really get out of your videos that I can relate to
Yeah, totally. I mean, like
as a tech geek. And
yeah. Like I respect that about my viewers because I know that not everybody is going to fall into the same target market for a company or for a
hmm
specific device. And I
hmm
try to consider like all the possible ways that you could use a product before deciding like, yes, this is a thing that I could recommend.
right,
So I know that I can't recommend it to everybody in my audience, but like if
right.
you fall within this specific category, then yeah, you would probably love this thing.
hmm Yeah, you don't force, and the good thing is you don't force people into it, and that's what I like about it. Because, and also too, the camera, the Sony ZV-10 I
Yeah.
purchased. I love that camera, and you give a lot of you have some great hacks, which I picked up right away. And I took the camera to CES with it, and
Yes.
it worked
Awesome.
out, and it worked out great. So you really got some. So again, kudos on that.
That's a
Um,
good approach.
yep.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's so keep up the awesome work, and I in the show notes and on the YouTube page, Facebook page, I have some stuff, the follower on Twitter and at Snubs, or how you pronounce Snubs.
Snaps.
Yep, that's it. So with that, so to celebrate, this episode, we're gonna have a giveaway, and the giveaway is going to consist of uh CES swag, which Scott and I and Shannon love swag. So we have so we have a lot of swag, not a lot, but there's some. Also, we're going to dive into the Tech Podcast Network merch store, throw some stuff in there, and Shannon has graciously going to donate some goodies.
Yes.
So, which we really, really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, if you go to make sure I got my right screen. So if you go to gnsweekly.com/giveaway, enter now until the end of this month, and then we'll announce
Which is April, not March, like you said in the opening.
Right, April. See, this is going now. Now you know why. Now you know why I get my dates and also mix up at the same time. So April. Okay, so end of April. The giveaway ends, and then announce the drawing on May 6th. So you have plenty of time between now. If you missed it, you have plenty of time to enter and win, and we'll ship that out to you guys. Make sure it's US only, because international shipping sucks. So gnsweekly.com.
Maybe Canada if you're really nice.
Okay, Canada. Okay. All right. So with that's all said and done. Let's jump into news this week. Top story. Now, this is the biggest news that's blown up all over the place, and then some. So if you don't know who Elon Musk is, then you're in the wrong podcast.
Probably.
He owns 9.2% of Twitter.
All of a sudden.
Right, after purchasing $2.8 billion in stock. This is coming from a filing from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This is spotted by CNBC. He's prolific on Twitter, and he has over 80 million followers, but the platform has also brought him in trouble. No surprise there. Most famously
with
in 20
SEC, with investors, with
just with ordinary people. Most famously in 2018, he tweeted that he had, quote, funding secure to take Tesla private at $420 a share, setting off an SEC lawsuit that cost him $20 million and a spot as chairman of the board. Musk recently challenged the settlement, saying that the SEC overstepped its authority. He's asking a federal judge to terminate his agreement, requiring some tweets to be vetted by a lawyer. Musk is now the platform's largest shareholder, and Twitter shares have reportedly surged more than 20% in pre-market trading. So, Shannon, my question to you is this: why is Elon taking on Twitter?
My personal opinions may disagree with some people on the internet who are huge fans of Elon Musk, and I think it's because he's egotistical. He likes it when people can talk directly to him on Twitter. He likes it when he can call people out and publicly shame people and do whatever else he wants to do on Twitter. And the fact that sometimes he gets in trouble, I don't think he's very happy with. I don't think this is a man that necessarily likes to have somebody tell him no or say, you can't do that. So instead, he uses his money to solve the problem. Like, that's my honest opinion.
No, feel free.
100%.
Feel free.
And no, I do not own a Tesla, and I will never own a Tesla as long as Elon Musk is a part of that company.
Okay. I'm all with you. I think that
I'm so glad to find somebody else who's not quite as enamored with him as
that's not in his cult.
Yeah.
I've never particularly liked the guy. He's not everybody. Anytime somebody calls him a genius, I'm like, you don't know a whole lot about him, because he's not a genius any more than Steve Jobs was a genius. He was good at marketing, but not a genius.
He's very good at marketing. He's very good at what he does.
Yes, which is not being a
that.
genius. He's very good at a thing. He's not. I think to be a genius, you have to be very good at many things, right? You have to be able to understand lots of things, which he does not.
Yeah,
as is evidenced frequently.
When it comes to CEOs of tech companies, I've never really looked at any of them, no matter who they are, no matter what company that they are in charge of, as somebody that I idolize. And I worry that puts you into a dangerous situation when you start idolizing CEOs of companies, given that there's so much monetary value involved. So I tend to look at like historical figures as people that I can idolize. Women who have been people that, like the woman that created wireless hopping between frequencies. Mm-hmm. She's incredible. Like, there's so many people in our past that we can look to idolize, as opposed to CEOs of tech companies. And I think that's really important when it comes down to like how you want to, come forward with ethics in your own personal life, and how you should really put yourself out onto the internet. And sometimes I think what Musk does is very odd, and not necessarily something that I would do on the internet. Some of the things that he says, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, when it comes to him just like purchasing such a huge stake in Twitter, I really do think it comes down to him just disagreeing with the platform and wanting to maybe one day take it over. Like, I'm a little worried about that.
He's on the board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's within like hours of him being announced as the largest single shareholder, he was on the board of directors.
And what kills me is, and Sean, I agree with you. I think it's not. I don't analyze him either. I think he's a nut. To be honest, I think that, and just to spend that bill. I mean, what a billion would it be? And that money. I'm not telling him how to spend his money. God bless the man. However, money is well better spent on getting better like education for schools. SpaceX, with the satellites, that's great. So affordable internet, what have you. But to use Twitter, I think, as his listening, not his listening post, but his megaphone is wrong. Twitter is a, okay. weird noise. um, you know, Twitter is like an outlet. I follow, I'm on Twitter, then check out the news. I follow various people, you and a lot of folks, but I think by him in it and putting his grubby little hands in it is going to spoil Twitter for what it is.
And I guess like only the future will tell us if that's going to be the thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it's not. Like I've been on Twitter for a really long time, and
Mm-hmm.
I always try to remain optimistic no matter
Right.
who has a stake in a company.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that Elon Musk is very, very passionate about freedom of speech, and that's a huge thing that he's constantly said.
Right.
And I hope that he abides by that and doesn't
Mm-hmm.
just make it freedom of speech for people like me. It should be freedom of speech for all if you want to fall into that opinion. But again,
Absolutely.
Twitter is a privately owned, or Twitter is a private company. It's not a government sector. It's not
Right.
a government agency.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily fall into that constitutional issue of freedom of speech because they
Mm-hmm.
can do whatever they want to run their company.
True. That is true. Make good point.
Scott's like, well,
it's not there. There's some, there's particular parts of the law that say they either get to be a platform or a publisher, and if they want to be a publisher, that's fine, but you lose all the legal protections of a platform, and they're trying to have it both ways. And there's going to be a big blow up over that soon if they don't decide. I think the next probably 18 months we're going to see a huge lawsuit from the federal government against Twitter, Facebook. Are there other social networks? I don't know. YouTube.
You could go to like Mastodon.
So I saw you talking about that. I don't know what that is yet, but I'm gonna investigate after the show.
So that's like I'm not sure if it's open source. It probably is because I had reviewed it on Hack5. So it's been around since at least 2017. And a few days ago, people were freaking out about it because it's a decentralized platform that nobody is in charge of. There's a whole bunch of different servers. You can run your own, you can host your own. So in that sense, it allows for more of those freedoms that you don't necessarily get with a privately owned company. So you could potentially go there and say things that you couldn't necessarily say on Twitter. A lot of people like that. I think it kind of depends on what kind of people you are. For me, I'm perfectly fine on Twitter because I have no problem, staying in line with their rules because I think it's fair. Other people may see that differently. So they may want to go to a decentralized platform like Mastodon. But it's a good platform. Like I used it, I tested it out, and it was really fun. So like you could have like a whole hacker section where you can talk about like how to hack things. And that's not necessarily an illegal thing. Like you should be able to educate each other about how to hack your own personal devices or your own personal network to do what you want it to do. Absolutely. And a lot of times companies like YouTube and Twitter can see that as being something bad. Like they might think you're trying to share malicious links or something when all you're trying to do is share, I don't know, a Hack5 YouTube video. So it might be useful to use a decentralized platform in that sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I enjoy. Like I said, I enjoy Twitter. I follow it for news, not necessarily Facebook. Because Facebook is a mess, but Twitter, it's a mess. But I'm and Scott will agree with you 110%
from a platform, from a company standpoint,
right, the whole kit and caboodle. So I mean, with Twitter, with me, I follow the news and follow other things, and I'm on it literally like morning, in the afternoon, and at night. And Shannon, you vocalize a lot of things about what's been going on with you, and I admire how you don't hold back, and some of them post some really cute memes and gifs. So I have to give them kudos on that too. But you're open, and there's some people that aren't as open as a lot of people, and but I just hope that, again, with Elon putting his hands in it, I'm just hoping that people can be open more and not be behind this wall. So
yeah.
All right, cool.
No,
All right.
when it comes to Elon Musk, I'm on Peter Thiel's side. So, I think Musk was almost single-handedly the downfall of PayPal. So,
Well, I wouldn't mind that as much. I don't like PayPal.
the original PayPal was way better than post-eBay PayPal.
Oh my gosh, yeah, tell me about it. Jeez. I've had so many issues. Like in that sense, you go Elon Musk. Do whatever you need to do. Like
There you go. There you go. There you go.
destroy PayPal. Go for it, dude. I don't care.
Well,
Well, that was
Dixon-
what he was trying to do when it worked. Now
Yeah.
he's not involved in it at all.
Now he's
That's
not.
how we ended up in the mess we're in now. Is he was CEO of PayPal for years, and then he was
Yeah.
ousted because he was an idiot.
Yeah.
And Peter came back as CEO.
Oh, that's crazy.
All right. All right. So next up in the news today or this evening. So true story. So where I live, New Jersey, I can look right across from my house, my street, and I can get Comcast, Verizon Fios, or Optimum. That's great for me. Well, apparently it's not so great for Mr. Jonathan Rowney, who moved from Virginia to Washington State, May last year. Rowney told Ars Technica that before closing a house in the city of Buckley, he checked Comcast's website to confirm that he can sign up for broadband. He said, quote, I went ahead and placed my order and scheduled an install for the day after we moved in or whatever. I think about 4 days before closing on the house at Comcast canceled my order. And he said that someone from Comcast called him with the message that his, quote, his house not serviceable. Comcast essentially told him, Rowney, that he had to pay over $19,000 for a line extension. And after he decided to spend some time investigating his options, he hired a contractor to do part of the work and paid Comcast to do the rest for a total of about $10,000. Well, there was construction, took a little longer, and things didn't happen right away. Comcast didn't send the installer out to his house because the company's records incorrectly to show the work wouldn't be done until April of this year. There's more. So apparently, Ars Technica did a report. It did a report on this, confirmed that the Comcast online ordering system was still giving false information on his street, whereas a house further down, about 400 feet, they had Comcast internet. So apparently they were doing some checking and they got it corrected, and it's still showing it's not the right address. So Comcast gave him a price estimate down to $13,000. And then they provided an invoice from this company that does the construction for Comcast. Long story short, he paid a vendor about $2,000, almost $3,000 to install 153 feet of conduit underground, mostly on the driveway. And the company that does the construction for Comcast gave him a quote of $7,102. He decided to pay it. And then work takes a little longer, spanned about another several months. And finally, the work was done on December 15th. So this is the most oddest story, and how Comcast is asking for that amount of money.
Here's the thing about it. It's not that odd. And that's the thing that kills me. The number's a little higher than normal, but
Right.
we hear stories about Comcast telling people that they service an address and then telling them $5,000, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 all the time. I remember last year there was a story. I might have actually been ours that broke that one too. It's been a while since I've thought about this. Where there was I think it was a younger couple that had moved into an area, and Comcast, their website's like, yeah, no problem. You can add it to your cart. You can check out. And when you're all done, you get a phone call from Comcast that says, oh yeah, by the way, it'll be a $5,000 hookup.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So Comcast does this all the time.
And
You know, they did that to Hack 5 too.
Oh yeah?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. We had moved into a warehouse in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they did not have any kind of hard line connection for an ISP. So people were just using like DirecTV for internet or something like that, like something
Ooh.
terrible. It was
Oh
terrible.
my goodness.
It was so bad. And we were like,
HughesNet is
there's
the
no way we can work.
worst.
So we had to contract Comcast to bury a brand new internet line to the warehouse that we were working at. And it cost thousands. It was so expensive. It was and we paid for the whole thing. We paid for the entire warehouse, even though we were one of the only office spaces. There were like maybe five or six other ones, but we paid for a wire to be run to all of our warehouse. So the entire warehouse of businesses were benefited from the cost that we decided to pay. It was insane.
And then you had, and I remember you
sucks.
watching your story on when you got your house and the trials and tribulations with your internet and with your internet. So did that you had the same problems there as well, right?
Luckily with my house, I have fiber to the door with another ISP,
Okay.
which was one of the things that I told my realtor I have to have. And she was just like, I don't understand fiber to the door. What? It's like, don't worry, just ask the builder if it's available. And if it is, then I'll totally buy a house in this neighborhood. If not, then we're going to the next house. Like I have to have good internet.
Right.
My issue with Comcast was they showed up and tried to sell me their ISP on my driveway. Like somebody was on my driveway trying to sell me Comcast internet. And I kept on asking him, well, do you have fiber available for my house? Is it fiber to the door? And he was like, oh, we can get you fiber speeds. And I said, that's not the same thing as fiber to the door.
Right.
What is your upload speed? And he goes, well, we can get you speeds that will allow you to watch 4K on multiple devices all at once.
That's down, buddy.
That's download speeds. I'm a YouTuber. I upload 4K videos every single day to my my YouTube channel. This is my full-time job. I need upload speeds. And he was like, we can probably get you around like 20 to 50, which to be fair is quite good. But fiber is so much faster. Like I can wait a few seconds and get a 4K video uploaded to YouTube like in seconds. Like my cloud storage where I upload all my 4K master files, seconds. So huge difference. Sorry,
Right.
Comcast. So I did not sign up with them because they kept on trying to, they were like underestimating my education when it comes to fiber. And I was just like, bro, no.
Yeah.
Right. And again, that goes back to, what I was saying in the beginning, that how when you explain things to people, ordinary people don't know. And they're also making it seem like you're dumb. And you're clearly not on every stretch of imagination. And with my family, I have to explain things, with my wife and my mom, how things work. And I remember you joking on Twitter, I think the other day or last, I can't remember when, don't ask for tech support.
Oh yeah.
But I think Comcast has been in the news for for the past year, if not more. And I think we had a couple of news items a few months ago last year where they are, maxing out their data caps and they got to get their act together. I mean, if they show their address, the guy went on the website, put his address in, it shows it's available, and then they go, whoops, no, it's not. Ars Technica did a search. It's still wrong. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's so bad.
So I pulled up some of the previous instances of this. So the one I was thinking of was 2020 when it started. So last year when it finally came down. Edward Cole, Koll. They wanted $5,000 from him. Here's almost your story. Silicon Valley startup called Smart Car. Comcast demanded $60,000 from them.
Wow, way.
In 2015, a homeowner sold their house because Comcast was trying to demand so much from them to get hooked up.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a consumer one for $60,000.
So bad.
So they just sold the house. Like, you know what? I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, I
Not
get
worth
it.
Yeah. An additional $60,000 just to get Comcast? No.
That is nuts.
I wouldn't do that for an internet service provider I wanted.
No, I wouldn't either. No way, man.
I certainly don't want Comcast because they are every year they're in the top 10 most hated companies in America.
Mhm.
Well, let me ask you this, Kirk and Scott.
Yeah.
Should internet be a right?
Absolutely. Yes. Wholeheartedly.
Should fast internet be a right?
Absolutely.
Acceptable internet.
Acceptable.
Yeah, obviously better than DSL and nonsense.
Yes,
Right.
dial up.
Scott, here, so Todd Cochran, who's the head of the Tech Podcast Network, he is in a place where internet is
And he's
half
in
the time.
He's in the boonies with that.
Half the time it would be quicker
I grew up
for
in the
him.
boonies, so that I'm very familiar with those kind of internet speeds.
Okay.
Like that's my mom's house still.
half the time it would be quicker for him to just type out his videos in Morse code and hope. Oh,
I'm back.
You're
That's
back.
weird.
and
Because you were typing out Morse code. My
I
camera
apparently
thought it was turning off.
I got just the right code to turn the camera off.
Weird.
So I mean, and it's not like he's nowhere, right? It's not like if he set off a bomb in his backyard, nobody would know, right? He's close enough to people, and he doesn't have any real options, and that's insane. Thank goodness. We're gonna go back to the last topic accidentally for a second, but thank goodness that Starlink is on its way,
right?
Because that's actually like he's chomping
at the bit.
Starlink.
He's chomping at the bit, and he did say to me that he's getting it supposedly this month.
Wow.
Yeah, and that goes back to we had a talk.
He was a day one sign up.
He was, yeah. The moment they announced it, he was on that. He was on. He filled everything out, and that goes back to earlier that circling back, when you're spending billions of dollars for a platform, put that money. And when he's asking about it's a right, absolutely
put it somewhere more useful.
Exactly, not into something in a platform that there's a lot of people on Twitter. I get that, but I think that in this day in this climate right now, and I truly believe that with education first and foremost, and the internet, kids can do their schoolwork, and
accessibility.
We talked about at the beginning of 2020, there were kids that were sitting in closed Taco Bell parking lots just so they could do homeschool from their laptops, which completely defeated the whole purpose because they were clumping up anyway. The idea was to separate them, and it didn't go that way. But that unacceptable.
Yeah. So Comcast, get your act together.
For so many reasons.
Exactly right. All right. In other news, the Department of State has announced the new Bureau of Cyberspace and Digital Policy, or CDP. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken announced the CDP in October. The Bureau comprises 3 policy units: international cybersecurity, international information and communication policy, and digital freedom. The office will be eventually led by Ambassador at Large, who will require Senate confirmation. Jennifer Backus, who is a crew member of the Senior Foreign Service, is running the Bureau on an acting basis as senior official and principal deputy assistant secretary. In February, FBI Director Christopher Wray said the agency had more than 2,000 active investigations related to thefts of U.S. tech or information that were allegedly carried out by China. He claimed the country had a, quote, massive, sophisticated hacking program that is bigger than those of every other major combined. Shortly before Russia invaded the country in February, Ukraine's government blamed it for a cyber attack against its websites. And President Biden signed a executive order last May that sought to bolster the country's cybersecurity infrastructure. He followed that up in January with an executive order that contained more concrete directives concerning the Defense Department, the intelligence community, and national security system. So my question is, too little, too late to have a quote Bureau of Cyberspace and Digital Policy when this could be been done.
But better to have it than not. But yeah, this should have been done 30 years ago.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think in some spaces, especially like protecting infrastructure and like digital economy and things of that nature, like it's important to have some kind of government regulation happening. And for the longest time, we haven't seen any kind of cybersecurity work happening at a government, like a federal slate. And it's been needed for years and years
Mhm.
and years, especially now with the huge increase that we've seen in ransomware and malware attacks, in botnets. We've had infrastructure vulnerabilities since the Stuxnet days. Like and that was what, 10 years ago?
At
It's been
least.
so long. And the government has been so slow at acting on all of these problems that we have seen in all sorts of different types of companies and different types of I guess like federal mandated agencies.
Mhm.
So it's about time, like
Yeah.
especially right now with what's happening in Ukraine and how a
And
lot of the attacks that we have seen that
uh
are targeting Ukraine are starting to spill out into other countries as well, including the United States.
mhm.
We're seeing a lot of those attacks starting to hit us too. So in that sense, yes, we need this badly.
And on
So
on top of
hopefully
it,
they do it quickly.
on top of it, the idea of, the Bureau also focusing on digital policy, I think is
Yes.
important, as the inevitability of China invading Taiwan heats up. Like 80% of silicon is produced in Taiwan.
Mhm.
Uh-oh. That's not great.
Yeah.
Thank goodness Intel jumped on it quick, and they've got the foundry going in Ohio. The manufacturer of chips in Taiwan is diversifying, and they're building a foundry in Arizona, I think. So
Wow.
right, the T in their name is Taiwan, and they're building their next foundry in Arizona because they know that things are about to end in Taiwan, and they know that they're responsible for keeping the world afloat. So, having digital policy, my guess is that this has something to do with why Intel's next foundry is going in Ohio, right? Is, conversations within the State Department on digital policy is why Intel's building in Ohio, why TSMC, I can never remember which order those letters go in, why they're building in Arizona. That would be my guess. Because
That's
that
a
would
good
be,
guess.
because
I mean,
that
it
would be,
is
that
it
would
is a
be
guess
the
for us
role,
since we're on the outside, but
but that would be
it's
the
a
role
good
of the State
guess.
Department, right?
Yeah.
That's literally the role of the State Department. And then, this
It's plausible.
this bureau within the State Department, it totally makes sense that they've kind of been active already in a test phase to make sure that it made sense.
Well, my concern is with voting machines in the general election, because I think I saw, Jenna, maybe you might know or seen this at one of the DEF CONs where they had.
You got to be careful. We're on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
You got to be careful with what you say here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, freedom of speech and all that,
Right. So I saw a video where it was a voting machine, and somebody it was running on a Windows 7 computer or operating system, and was able to hack it in less than like a minute and a half. So my concern is that with these voting machines, if they're going to have this, they should be able to look into these voting machines also. Because God forbid something happens, and if you want to vote for whomever, then that machine gets hacked for whatever reason.
Sounds like digital policy to me.
Right.
I mean, in conjunction with the, with the elections department, but
right.
I mean, that sounds like digital policy to me.
Yeah.
And having two organizations both with a vested interest in that particular topic is better than just one.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Anytime you only have one
That's my
organization with a vested interest in something, it's never better, particularly within the government.
Mhm.
So I mean, the government's not great at most things that they get their hands into, but they're at least better than nothing.
Agreed.
Right? They're usually kind of meh at the things they do. These are the same people who, when a judge rented porn at a video rental store, the Senate passed a law preventing video rental stores from telling people what they rented, which is why we weren't allowed to share our watch history on Facebook from Netflix. I mean,
that I did not know.
yeah, until like 2015 or 2016, there was no share function from Netflix because there was a federal law preventing video rental companies from sharing the watch history of their customers because a federal judge rented porn and they told on him.
Wow. Okay,
That's
it's a good
so
thing
funny.
it's a good thing I'm not blushing right now.
And that was like 1983 or something, and that law affected us into like 2015 or 2016.
What? Wow.
We did a whole show on it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I must live under a rock when it comes to like
I didn't know about that.
Stories like
that.
that.
I didn't know that. I thought politics like religiously, and I did not know that. So
we did a
I'm
whole.
so innocent. I never like pay attention to stories like that.
we did a whole show on it in, I don't know, 2012 or 2013. And that was the reason why you couldn't.
Oh yeah, I was a baby. I was like underage at that time, so that makes sense. I probably couldn't access the story.
But I mean, so they're not great at forward thinking, right? That's never been certainly the federal government's purview is forward thinking, but at least trying to solve today's problems today is better than not trying to solve any problems ever.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
We'll be a little behind the ball, but it's better than the ball being out there and nobody playing. So
yeah.
I still can't get that image out of my head. So I'm gonna try to like.
He didn't. It's not like he did it in his judge's robes or anything.
Oh, good. Okay.
just a guy in a suit.
Again, I'm still not getting that image on my head. So
that'd be really funny, though.
It would.
With the gavel.
Oh my god.
Oh jeez. Oh, no. It's like going down that rabbit hole. All right. Speaking of cybersecurity, I guess.
Is that what we were talking about? It did seem like we lost that thread a little bit.
It was. That's why
we got sidetracked.
Right, you didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. That's okay. See, Sean, this is why this podcast is the best. Okay, all right. So, email marketing giant Mailchimp has confirmed a data breach after malicious hackers and compromised an internal company tool. They gained access to customers' accounts. In a statement given to TechCrunch, Mailchimp CISO Siobhan Smith said the company became aware of the intrusion on March 26th after identified a malicious actor accessing a tool used by the company's customer support and account administration teams. Access was gained following a successful social engineering attack, a type of attack that exploits human error and uses manipulation techniques to gain private information, access, or valuables. Smith said, quote, "We acted swiftly to address the situation by terminating access for the compromised employee accounts and took steps to prevent additional employees being affected. However, it wasn't quick enough as hackers viewed approximately 300 Mailchimp accounts and successfully exposed audience data from 102 of those. This is the company saying this. Mailchimp declined to say exactly what data was accessed, but told TechCrunch that the hackers targeted customers in the cryptocurrency and finance sectors. In addition to viewing accounts and exploring data, the threat actors gain access to API keys for undisclosed number of customers, allowing the hackers to potentially send spoofed emails, which have now been disabled and can no longer be used. So basically, yet another breach on this time with another company.
What? No.
This is a this is very similar to what happened to Twitter. I
Twitter.
believe it was last year. Social
Same-
engineering attack
Same,
that
same
gained
general group
Yeah.
of targets.
and same thing happened to Okta recently. It was social engineering, and they were able to gain access to basically like a customer portal that some employee at those companies had access to, which in turn gave the attackers access to information on all the client customers of this specific company, which leads me to believe that these kind of social engineering attacks that are relying on focusing on like back end infrastructure type of companies that have access to a whole bunch of other bigger companies that use them for part of their customer portal, for example. It makes me think that that is a new target that a lot of attackers are choosing to attack. A lot of hacker groups are choosing to, go after. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
But this has been what kills me is that there have been so many companies over the past several years that got hacked, data breaches. What can be done? I mean, I'm not an expert in this, and Shannon, you are versed and knowledgeable. So if you were a CISO officer, what would you do differently than what these companies are doing now, or an improvement?
Yeah. God, there's so many examples of things that I would say to do, but of course I don't run a big company with several employees, so I can only say this based on experience talking to people that are CISOs, which I am not. Segmentation, making sure that your employees do not have access to everything, making sure that they are not admins or that they have God mode powers on whatever infrastructure that they are running on the back end. Making sure that you educate them on social engineering attacks, especially the new ones, not just like the stuff that you could learn 10 years ago on the email spelled incorrectly or whatever. They're much more sophisticated now in this day and age. So updating social engineering education so that employees know what to look for, and not penalizing employees for falling for these schemes, but instead welcoming them into like the infosec group so that they can understand and they can learn from each other, and not berating them if they do fall for these tactics, because even the most educated people in security and privacy can fall for these social engineering attacks. I've seen people who are in information security that have like certifications and everything, and they will post about like falling for these kind of attacks on Twitter, and they will share their experience so that we can all learn for it. So treating each other with that kind of respect and not berating your employees or like writing them up for falling for it. That's a huge thing too, because if you do that, they're not going to tell you when they fall for it.
Right.
And then that will lead to your company getting hacked.
Right.
Because they won't tell you that it happened. Oh, also sign up for 2FA, please, dear God.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Force it. On these things, force it.
Yes, absolutely.
To target a video that I think you did recently, partner with somebody like YubiKey. Make sure that
yeah.
We love them. I've got several of them on my desk out in mission control. That
where am I? I have a collection.
Have your employees use those, right? Then we've really limited the access. They've physically got to be in the building.
I think I have
make that better.
I have like 20 of them in my. This one's from Fashion. Got these. I have so many. I don't use them all, but I test a lot of them. and then I use specific ones for specific access points. So if one did get stolen, they couldn't gain access to all of my accounts. Like it's like a whole weird thing I have going on here.
And you've been saying 2FA for like ever, and I even do. I'm now starting to do 2FA because I hear all the concerns and all that.
Kurt,
so I make sure.
You're just now signing up for it.
Yes, I admit it. I admit
What took
it.
so long?
A lot.
No, quite. I mean, quite frankly, it is a lot of work to get it set up.
It is. It took me a while to do it, but I just did it recently within the past few weeks. So yeah, I seen and I watched everything, and I'm like, I gotta do it. So I took some time, and so guilty as charged. I should have done it way before. So I'm guilty as charged. So
well, I am proud of you for signing up for 2FA.
Thank you.
And implementing it.
Thank you. Yep, I'm
That's
happy.
Very good.
Yep, and that's why I'm happy, especially with a lot of the apps I have. It's all on thumbprint, so I'm also happy with that as well.
Good.
That's working properly because it was a pain in the butt before, but now I'm like, woohoo! So, yes, definitely do that. It'll help you immensely. So definitely take it from me. It helps. Trust me.
And I'm going to throw out there, I know a lot of people don't quite understand what social engineering is. And it's a weird pitch. Every time I say this, people are like, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? There is he's a friend and it's fine. But one of the original, probably the original nerdcore rapper, YT Cracker, has got a song.
Oh, no, we don't talk about him. Sorry, I have personal problems with him, so we don't talk about him.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
He's a good friend, and the social engineering song explains it real well.
Well, I have some nerdcore recommendations.
Excellent.
Dual Core is a wonderful person, very respectful to women. And Dale Chase, who I actually did a video with.
I don't know that one.
Good people, very respectful.
Dale Chase.
Yeah.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know any of them. So,
well, I'm going to put it out there. The song explains social engineering better than any article I've ever read, which is the reason why I usually pitch it out there. Thank you for the recommendation. I will look into Dale Chase.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I mean, couldn't hurt. Okay, cool. All right. So next,
I see a lot of security related stuff. Anything on social engineering?
No.
Shannon? No, Shannon from Dale.
Which
Chase.
one?
Sorry.
From Dale Chase. I see a lot of security related songs. Is there anything on social engineering?
There might be.
Okay.
He has like 3 CDs worth, at least.
Okay. Cool. Well, maybe I've got another recommendation.
Cool. All right. Awesome. All right. Next up now, I'm not a big fan of NFTs. I don't know why it's out there, but Scott and I wondering why it's still a thing. Well, Paramount and Recure are launching the first batch of Star Trek NFTs through Paramount.xyz in a 24-hour sale starting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can spend $250 on a Season 0 pack, and you'll get unique algorithmic built starships that you can flaunt and sell to our Trekkies. There'll be 20,000 items in the first wave, with 2,000 more, quote, in reserve. There'll be incentives to buy early. Starship owners will receive crew member NFTs ahead of their wide release in Season 1. And Season 2 will let you use that crew permissions in a play-to-earn game. I love Star Trek.
I was gonna say we're leading up. We've buried the lead here. There's obviously a game that these are going to be attached to.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned it at the very, very end there. They definitely buried the lead on what the story is. There's a Star Trek game coming.
Oh, okay.
And you can buy your ships now.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm. But again, Shannon, are you a fan of NFTs? Please.
No, but I am a huge Trekkie. So
good. Thank you. All right. You and I.
I don't have anything close enough.
Likewise.
I do. I have an Uhura mug. Oh my God. I have to show you this.
Okay. I'm
getting up.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Go ahead. So for those watching live,
Oh.
we're on audio. Shannon's getting up to gather some. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Awesome.
That is
So
awesome.
for anybody listening on audio, I have a it's a Star Trek Barbie and Ken gift set from the late 80s, early 90s, and
Mhm.
it's still new in box, and my mom kept it in storage for me. And she brought it over to my house last year, and I was like, "Oh my god, this thing is amazing." So it's on my set. So I have this, and then I also have a Uhura mug from the original series.
Very
I'm a
nice.
huge
Oh.
Trekkie. I love Star Trek.
Okay,
Me
good.
Grew up
too.
with it.
I've
Awesome.
got outside of this room, I've got too much.
I'm the biggest Star Trek fan. I don't have the collectibles. I wish I did. And Shannon, I love you even more. For showing that
I
off.
went to a Ren fair and I dressed up in a red dress, like Uhura's dress.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
was
that
like,
is
"Oh, I'm
awesome.
gonna be in so much trouble," but it was so much fun.
I just don't.
I love that when that happens.
Right, me
I
too.
I just don't get, again, because Scott and I on previous episodes, I think there was something about NFTs for something. I can't remember what it was, but again, I can't stand it. Why are they doing this to me? And they're doing this to my favorite TV show of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't collect NFTs. I don't have any NFTs. I haven't made any NFTs.
Mhm.
I like collecting physical art from small
Same.
businesses
Mhm.
and makers. I like collecting things that people have made by hand. I think that it holds a lot more um, value to me whenever
Mhm.
I can hold it in hand, and
Mhm.
it sparks so much more joy in my
Agreed.
life when I can look over and see a thing as opposed to having something digitally that I have purchased. I do still purchase things like, music and movies. Like I purchase
Right.
my friends' nerdcore music whenever they release new ones,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and that sparks joy as well. But NFTs have
Yeah.
never done that for me.
Right. Agreed.
And you don't, because it's digital. Well, depending on what it is. So this, I'm looking into this in a little bit more detail, and this might be one of the places where NFTs make sense, because it's not artwork; it's an in-app
Mhm.
usable thing, which is where I think NFTs actually make sense.
An in-app purchase.
Kind of, but
Right.
it's not purchased in-app. That's the thing. It's tradable. It's able to be interacted with external to the platform, which is the thing. Anybody who's played an MMO knows the danger of trying to buy something externally. Everybody's done it, and everybody
Yes.
knows the danger, because somebody has to take the risk. Do I send the money before getting the thing? Do I give the thing before getting the money? Somebody's going
Yeah,
to
it's
take
so
the risk.
strange.
But with an NFT, that problem is solved, because it's a direct tradable asset externally, which it looks like is what's happening here. My concern on this website is less about Star Trek and more about the Nickelodeon logo that I'm seeing that says coming soon. Because I don't like the idea of getting kids involved in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That seems dangerous and bad.
Mhm.
So that's a whole different thing. But there's definitely a Nickelodeon coming soon logo on here. But
That's so fascinating.
yeah, I don't like that at all.
Well,
But if you're buying a ship, a procedurally generated ship to use in game, okay, that sounds interesting.
right.
I can investigate this a little bit, maybe. I'm not mad at it like the people on IGN are mad at it, which is the article I was reading that got me here. The people at IGN are very unhappy about this. But if it's something that you're going to use in game, okay, I can see where the value,
Yeah,
can come in there.
I would just prefer to purchase a digital item for the game that I can use. It doesn't necessarily have to be an NFT. Like
Right.
I don't want to feel like I have to fall into that trading scheme or anything like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I just want to purchase it and then keep it in my digital library so that I
Yeah.
can go back to it anytime. It's kind of like back in the day, I used to play Need for Speed, and I would straight up collect the cars, and I would mod all of
Me
them. And then
too.
depending on like the track or depending on wherever I was going in the city for whichever game I was playing, like I would use a particular car because it was best on that specific route.
Sure.
Like, do I have to trade them? Can I just
I
keep all
love
of them? Can I hoard Star Trek ships?
Ships? I mean, yes. Of course you can.
Well, again,
I feel like that would cost a lot, though.
$250 a piece. Is that what you said, Kirk?
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go.
I guess for a ship, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, but again, hard pass. And again, I'm not a big fan of NFTs. I see them everywhere, and I'm like you, Chen. I want them, to see them physically and collect. Yeah, that's.
I would purchase a Star Trek ship model for $250 and put it on my shelf.
If it's quality, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
If it had lights on the inside of it, very cool.
That would be very, very cool. Agreed. Absolutely. All right. Cool. All right.
There's more Nickelodeon branding on here, and it's making me less comfortable. It's getting worse.
No.
It's making me less comfortable with this concept.
All right.
I don't
avert your eyes. Avert your eyes. Avert your eyes. All right. Other news this week: Amazon will reportedly object to a recent union election victory at its warehouse in Staten Island, New York, alleging that organizers pressured workers into voting to organize. The Wall Street Journal reporting that the company revealed its intentions to appeal JFK8's election in a legal filing released to the public on Thursday. Roughly 55% of workers at the JFK8 warehouse voted to join the Amazon labor union, the first victory of its kind for Amazon workers in the U.S. The company has until April 22nd to gather evidence and formally file its objections to the National Labor Relations Board. In the document, Amazon gave a preview what objection it plans on raising. The company wrote that it believes the union threatened employees unless they voted to unionize. Amazon also accused the union of, quote, electioneering or interfering while employees waited in line to vote. They argued that usually long waits at polling booths led to insufficient voter turnout. The company also believes organizers loitered by the polling area and intimidated voters, even as goes as far as to threaten immigrant employees with the loss of their rights if they didn't want to unionize. Eric Milner, an attorney who represents the ALU, believes the Amazon's objections will be dismissed. He said to Reuters, quote, to say that the Amazon labor union was threatening employees is very absurd. The Amazon labor union is Amazon employees. So basically, I don't think Amazon's going to win on this. They already voted. So good on them.
Amazon's going to fight it with every breath that they have.
I don't think they're going to. They will. They will. But honestly, that's a lot. I mean, they're going to be putting. I don't know. That's kind of a tough call if they're going to win or not.
Yeah. The few people that I know who are in labor unions, especially in the Bay Area, for example. So that's where I'm taking my example from, because I'm not super familiar with that. Growing up in the Midwest, none of us had labor unions. All of them really appreciate the work that their unions do to protect their rights. And I feel like a huge company like Amazon, the employees that are working there, they wouldn't need to be intimidated to join a labor union. They would want to join a labor union. They'd probably be running to the voting booth to vote, yes, we need it. Of course, I'm not there. Like, I can't speak for anybody who works there, but just from my experience talking to really good friends who have been in labor unions for years, for decades, they appreciate the power that their voice is given when they're a part of a labor union. And you honestly don't get that when you're working for a huge company and you're just one person. Like, you're really fighting for just yourself when you're not a part of a union. So I'm hoping for the best for them. I really am, because I feel like they need it.
So long as it's not compulsory, I'm fine with, freedom of assembly. You can hang out with whoever you want under whatever conditions you want. So long as it's not compulsory, I don't care. Good on them. Good on the employees for saying they want to do it. As long as you don't have to be part of it to work for the company. Cool.
I work for a company that is union, and I've been with them in this company for over 20 years, and the unions make the companies do it well, and also it makes the companies do well, but also in the same token they offer good benefits. Without unions, that's where benefits come from in the most part. And I'm just, with Amazon is going to fight this. They're going to fight this, but I think that, they should be able to form a union. And if they, like Sean said, they should be able to do that without, any hindrance. But we'll see what happens. So
I have a quick update on the last story.
Oh no, no more Nickelodeon.
You fell down a rabbit hole, didn't you, Scott?
I did. So
and sometimes Shannon, he brings me with him sometimes too, which is all right.
I've got 3 headlines to read. IGN's is Star Trek announces NFTs, Trekkies push back. The Verge's headline is Paramount won't stop making Star Trek NFTs. and Engadget's headline is Star Trek's first NFTs lean heavily on incentives. Which one of these 3 is owned by Paramount? Oh, the third one.
Wow.
I guess Engadget wasn't allowed to say anything negative about the parent company's stupid initiative.
Okay, for some reason,
that's
Scott,
why that's why I have a stipulation in all my reviews that says you don't get to see the video until it's posted on the internet along with everybody else. Like anytime I review a product from a company, I'm like, sorry, you don't get to see this video until everybody else gets to see the video at the same time. So if you don't like the review,
you're not part of the editorial process, guys.
They are not a part of the editorial process. That's a part of my sponsorships too. You have no control over editorial. Big thing. I could never work for a company where I write articles and they say, no, you can't say that. I'd be like, I quit.
Well, what was it? It was Engadget who used to do the best of CES, right? It was Engadget that lost it. Yeah,
no, it was the Verge.
No, it was Verge. It was either Engadget or CNET, and they switched.
I'm trying to think. It was
because. Oh no, Engadget is not. No, it was backwards. It was CNET. CNET used to do it. Now it's Engadget.
Right, you're right.
Engadget's not the one that's owned by CBS. Never mind. That was just a weird.
Who's owned?
CNET is. CNET's owned by CBS Paramount.
Was. Now they're owned by Red Ventures.
Oh, okay. Did they escape that? Probably because of what happened. Because they gave best of CES to the Dish Network's Hopper, and CBS had a lawsuit with them about the Hopper, and they were told you have to take the award back. And CES said, "Oh yeah, we're taking the program back."
Oh no! Wow.
Yeah, no good. Anyway, let's keep going.
All right, yeah, we're all right.
Enough inconsistencies.
That's okay. Again, see, that's okay. We travel where we follow. That's all right. No worries. Okay. All right. Activision Blizzard is converting all its temporary and contract quality assurance workers in the U.S. to full-time employees starting on July 1st. Many of the 1,100 workers will receive a pay raise. The minimum hourly rate is going up $20 per hour as of April 17th.
Hold on. Going up $20 an hour or going up to $20 an hour?
Up to.
Okay.
Up to. See, up to.
I was going to say, whoa.
Yeah.
For QA, everybody's getting a $20 an hour raise?
Up to, right. That's why I'm not saying with my mouth.
I'd like to be in QA for Activision.
Right.
No, I would not.
As permanent employees, the workers will receive benefits and can participate in a bonus plan. The company says bringing those workers on board as staff will bolster its development resources and increase its number of full-time employees by 25%. It recently converted nearly 500 other temp and contract roles across its studios to full-time positions. So,
makes you wonder if this is an Activision or a Microsoft thing.
And they also did say that has nothing to do with the Activision and Microsoft thing.
Okay, so this is an Activision thing,
right?
Okay. Well,
So something to mention here is a lot of time temp and contract roles will be more expensive for a company to fill
yes,
than full-time positions,
because you're paying
even with
7 to 10
benefits.
because you're paying 7 to 10% at minimum to the contracting company.
Yep, exactly. Yes. Without going too much into detail, I know people that work for those kind of companies, and oftentimes, oh, you do too, Scott. Okay, wonderful. So yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm
I
sure
used
that,
to own one.
oh, yes. Okay. So Blizzard is absolutely going to be saving money by taking on some of these people as full-time positions, because they're also going to be benefiting from having them as full-timers, because
Yeah.
they'll get a cut on taxes as
Mhm.
the employee or employer.
Yeah.
So
There's
lots of benefits for them to do this.
there's ups and downs. So I know the way QA works at the game studios, particularly at Activision. I have to be careful what I
What you say?
say.
Yes.
I know that they ramp up and down, sometimes at whim,
Mhm.
based on the development cycle. For example, we know that
Oh.
Diablo 4 was just pushed out almost a year on its
Mhm.
release cycle, so QA had to be scaled down before it scales back up
Right.
in 3 to 6 months. Well, less than that now, because I think we're 3 months into that 12-month delay. Um, so any time between now and, maybe 4 months from now, they'll have to start ramping up again for, pre-release hard testing. So in
Absolutely.
that case, those employees being contract makes sense because it's way easier, especially, if you're dealing with, the Diablo team, which I know is based out of Cali. It's way easier to terminate a contract than it is to let an employee go when their services are no longer needed. So
Yeah.
there's some ups and downs. What this means is that they've got multiple games that are getting ready to ramp into final production.
Fascinating. Yeah. That
So
totally makks sense.
Diablo 4 is about to go into final production,
Right.
within
Right.
the next 7 months, I'd say.
Cool.
So all of the
Yes.
temps that they hired, to do, the on and off season testing are about to
Mhm.
be needed hardcore for Diablo 4.
Yeah.
The Warcraft 3 thing, I think, is in its last 12 or 18 months, so they're probably starting to harden up on that one too. So that's probably what
Wow.
this is about.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
25% of the workforce was
That's
contract QA. What?
that's a lot.
Mhm.
That's a lot of outsourcing talent.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, if they could just outsource the CEO's job, would be much better shape.
And to be continued.
Oh, I'm not afraid to be outspoken about.
I know you're
Kotek.
not. I know you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not. I know that. All right. And finally, so for those who use to the podcast and Shannon, we take a look at the odd tech news from a website that you can go to check if your local McDonald's voting machine is broken, or there was a story about making there was a
Spoiler alert, it is.
yeah it's called McBroken.com.
It's always broken.
Yep, it's always or there was a story about which Scott tried to apply for, but the deadline closed. Where there was a reality TV game show in Australia based on the video game Frogger, and there was one story which got
That
Scott and me
sounds
cracking.
awesome.
Yeah, and there was one story that Scott and I were cracking up about. To this day, we're still cracking up about it. Where there was a college student who was taking an online exam. College online exam. She was eating a meatball sandwich.
We both had meatball sandwiches within the next week. Continue.
One of the meatballs fell down, hit her computer, and she subsequently couldn't complete the exam and failed the exam.
because it was submitted halfway through.
Oh my God.
Yep.
That stinks.
Yeah, it
And
stinks.
apparently managed to hit double confirmation too, from what we understand.
Exactly right. Exactly
It's like,
right.
Your test has not been completed.
Oh
Are
my
you
God,
sure you
that's so
want to
great.
submit it? Yes.
Can I pull that with sponsors and be like, I'm sorry, I missed my deadline for this sponsored video
Because of a meatball.
because of a meatball. The meatball deleted my video.
And Scott and I were DMing. He's right. We were DMing about it the whole week, and then one night I wanted to get something to eat. So guess what I had? I had a meatball sandwich. Scott fell out laughing.
Me
Oh my gosh.
too.
So-
I had one the next night.
So yeah, it was the most, and we were like, that was the most, and that was back in 2020.
We had to challenge. We had to challenge fate. Is really what it came down
That
to.
is so
Exactly.
funny.
Yep. So a lot of the news we cover, in the top, the top news, but at the end of our podcast, at the end of the episode, we like to get something a little odd, weird, funny as well. So make people laugh and people to understand some things. So with that in mind, we're still in the food realm. So there is, there's like a lot of like vending machines, snack vending machines, soda vending machines, cake vending machines. So now there is a robot inside a vending machine in a mall in New Jersey that can cook you a burger in 6 minutes. And I'm going to show the video.
Oh, thank you, Chris, for bringing this to our attention.
Chris Jordan, he shared this last week. He's part of he's with the Talking Sounds podcast. And
Hey, it's good to have somebody else on here because now I know it's not me. Ha ha.
Yeah, it's not you.
When it's just the two of us, there's never any telling. Sometimes when he puts screen share on, everything goes sideways.
Oh no.
So for those who are listening live, this is pretty normal for you. I always love it because he always freezes in positions like that.
For Kirk.
We got an and. Don't you wish you knew what he was saying all this time?
Kirk needs to restart his internal clock.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, bud.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to share the screen, but the hell with it. So try to share the screen and it's not working out for me. Okay, let me try this one more time. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna hold on for the ride.
There we go. Okay.
I see it. Yay.
There we
I
go.
see us.
Yay. There we go. Okay. So
That's us.
okay. So
I'm gonna hack your computer.
Okay. Okay. So
here, install TeamViewer.
So RoboBurger.
Hi, this is Shannon with Microsoft. We found a problem with your computer.
You have to enable macros.
So RoboBurger is billed by its creators as the quote world's first fully autonomous robot burger. Takes out 12 square feet, plugs into a regular wall socket, and features a refrigerator, an automated griddle, and clearing system.
I would hope so.
The robot used a 5-step cooking process similar to what chefs use in quick service restaurants. This is from a press release. The Robo Chef grills a patty, toasts a bun, dispenses the selected condiments, assembles a burger, and delivers it piping hot in about 6 minutes for only $6.99.
She seemed pretty underwhelmed by the burger appearing from nowhere. Just from a marketing standpoint.
Well, she probably got tired of waiting for 6 minutes.
Right.
There's that.
So,
but it is
Like
cooked to order, so it's
McDonald's
not like
is slower, and they're in the food court. I'm just gonna go to the food court.
At least you know it's cooked to order, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what's happening there.
I'm not putting the audio on because last time I put the
Copyright.
audio on it exactly.
Yeah.
So for those that are watching or listening,
Does it also print fake money?
so
Because now I'm in.
I mean, it's kind of cool, especially if you can like customize your burger
Uh-huh.
with specific toppings. Though the ones they show in the video are pretty basic. They're
Yeah.
very basic burgers.
Mhm.
Oh, what if they had one where you could like choose between an Impossible Burger or a meat burger,
Like
so
Bay
that
1 and Bay 2.
yeah, especially because I know there's folks out there who would not want a vegan burger cooked on the same
Mhm.
grill as a meat burger, so you could have two separate bays, so it
It's
could be accessible to everybody, like both markets.
it's actually the reason why Taco Bell cut its menu down so significantly about a year ago, is because they turned one whole grill station into a dedicated vegan cooking surface.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I love Buffalo Wild Wings, but that's cool for other people.
like 60% of the menu items can now be ordered fully vegan.
Oh, whoa, that's crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the Impossible Burger tastes it is pretty tasty, so I wouldn't mind.
I have
I
not
like the idea.
done it thus far, but I almost did
I
a couple weeks ago. I'm like, this isn't the time or place to do it. I was at Busch Gardens, and I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't the time or place to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind using one of these vending machines if I could customize it, like with a whole bunch of crazy toppings, like pineapple, some teriyaki, make like a Hawaiian burger. So good. Now I want one of those.
Look what you did to yourself. See, this is how we ended up getting meatball sandwiches.
Yep. Yep. So now you're going to, now is I was going to have
Just have the food articles be the last article of the day.
Exactly right. See, that's why
it's why we do it.
Exactly. Yep. We always try to find something like the post part. I think the past couple episodes have been food related. There's been a couple that's been not, but this kind of like really rounds up the episode and puts a smile on your face and ideas forming, like the Hawaiian burger. But so that's why we round up the episode. So
this reminds me of something that we interviewed at CES 2021. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'm literally scrolling through our interviews. I don't remember what it's called, but it was a robotic kitchen for restaurants.
I remember that one.
Yep. It could have like 120 or something. I might be making that up. Different recipes in it at any given time. And it took up a smaller amount of space than the average restaurant kitchen. This is killing me that I can't. I've been through this list twice now, and I'm not. Oh, Robo Eats.
Oh.
EATZ. Robo Eats. Yeah, the Arc 3. They put their first test kitchen in somewhere weird. I don't remember where it was. Like, I don't remember. Somewhere in like Eastern Europe. It's an interesting place to test the technology. I would think Vegas or New York.
Yeah.
But okay.
So,
but yeah, this reminds me of that, only on a smaller scale. Obviously on a smaller scale, because it's not designed to run a whole kitchen. It's designed to make burgers.
Right.
And we've seen bigger versions of this, right? McDonald's has, I don't know, 2 or 3 dozen test restaurants that the kitchens are entirely automated. Wendy's has, I think, a dozen or two. I don't know. The Burger King has gotten on. I can't remember the name of the machine that both of them use. It's the same for both. But they've been doing test kitchens. But again, big. And this was real small. On the grand scale of things, I mean, that was a pretty small little machine. It was able to do 2 at once because it had 2 bays on it. So that's pretty cool. And it prints fake money. So, I mean, how do you... I don't know what that was all about. Maybe if the audio was on, we would have understood what was happening there. My guess is it's telling you that if you buy one of these things, it will almost print money for you. But that's probably the marketing behind that. But
again,
it's marketing for them all.
Again,
I like to think that it's just also a fake money printer.
And again, if I had to put the music on, A, yes, copyright, but B, it would have crashed. My thing would have crashed. So that's why I didn't put it on.
Okay, did without.
That's true too. That also is true. Okay, so with that is the tech news for this week for Friday, March 8th. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on. Glad to have you on.
And it worked out real well that it was tonight because we had some security topics at the top of the show. And I know you have a big background in that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. So is there anything that you want if people want to know where to go to find what you're doing online, anything you want to share as far as what you're working on, how will people do that?
Sure. You can go to youtube.com/Shannon Morse, which is spelled just like my name is spelled, to find all of my most up-to-date videos. YouTube.com/HAK5 is where I do my security and privacy news-oriented show called Threatwire. And then twitter.com/snubs for hot takes. Hot takes about impossible burgers and strange burger robots.
And rooting plants.
And rooting plants. Yes, it's true. I am propagating plants, and I have a Sailor Moon collection room, so I also talk about that stuff on Twitter too.
Yep.
I never would have guessed based on the shirt.
All right. Well, again, so this is tech news for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. Join us from this episode, and along with Shannon's contact information, but where you can find her, all on gncweekly.com. Also, check out the latest tech news and commentary from geeknewscentral.com. And be sure to tune in Mondays and Thursday evenings at geeknewscentral.com/live for the Geek News Central podcast. And then be sure to watch and tune in at GNC Weekly Live, gncweekly.com/live Friday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're back on 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be off for next week because of the Easter holiday, but back the following week. And as always, if you are new to podcasts, you can be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. Also, be sure to and make sure my music is coming up here. There we go. Got the music.
Got to give me something to do.
Right. And as always, if you're new to podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. Also, please make sure to click on the bell and always select notifications so you will not miss the next episode. Also, be sure to share this episode with people you know to check out the podcast, and also pass along the word that this podcast is easy to subscribe to on your favorite podcast app. And be sure to tune in to F5 Live Review Technology with Scott and Abram Pilch Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at f5live.tv/join us, or be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you have a comment on this week's episode, especially how you like your burger, we love to hear them. Head on over to gncweekly.com/connect and connect by email, Twitter, or Facebook. Don't forget the giveaway until the end of this month, gncweekly.com/giveaway. I am on Twitter. I'm at Kirk Corliss. Scott is on Twitter at TTMABO. Till the next episode of GNC Week in Review. So long.
Ciao.